The sun may be going down here in EU, but it only is just hotting up in NA. Furia versus Team 1 went the extra mile, but now it is elimination time as Chaos are taking on ZPG. Jumping into the action with me is, of course, Maui Snake and Potter. And what a way to be ending the day, Christine. An elimination match, no less.
Yes, definitely. And I'm so glad to be able to come back and see Chaos in full force versus maybe a team that they should be able to contend with. Yesterday versus Liquid, they came out a little bit flat. That series, I was hopeful that they would come out swinging, especially because Liquid have a new player in Grim. But Chaos, we talked about the fact that they're a full squad now. Some time has passed, so I'm expecting to see a different looking Chaos coming out the gate here.
Exactly, indeed. We can see exactly what happened yesterday in those matchups as we take a look at the bracket. Maui, are you seeing this kind of how you expected it to be playing out?
Yeah, given the changes for Triumph and lately Liquid, I still would have probably predicted this, expected this. It's rough for Triumph as they went out so early in this one, but for ZPG, they have to be feeling pretty good about themselves that they didn't actually come in last in this bracket. Now they are going to be tested against Chaos, though, and this is, it's shaping up as expected, but maybe the result of this one is a little bit dependent on the veto and what kind of tricks Steel and MCE have for us here.
Exactly, indeed. And we want to hear what you guys are saying down in Twitch chat. Make sure you get those votes in for hashtag Godz with a Z if you are voting for ZPG to be going through it, and then hashtag Chaos if you think Steel's 200 IQ is going to be sealing this one. But with that, I think it's time that we start to take a bit of a deeper look at the side of ZPG. As you said, Christine, yesterday they faced up against Triumph, but it did end up being quite a close series, at least on those first two maps.
Yes, the first two maps, we saw OTs across Inferno and Mirage. And ZPG, when we look at the players on this lineup in Marky, Cooper, Infinite, and Zelsis, these guys, they have veteranship. They have all the skill necessary to be able to win those kinds of matches. So to see it go into OT like that, to see a 15-3 advantage just kind of be thrown into the air, it was a bit disappointing to see. But one thing I did like about these guys is the momentum. It seems like when they are firing on all cylinders, when they are hitting their shots, they don't give up. They don't let go at all. We saw Zelsis, the whole W Religion gang. I know you love that, Freya. That's exactly what Zelsis was providing yesterday. I am worrisome, though, as soon as Chaos, they're going to start hitting back. And when they do hit back, what is God's answer going to be? Because yesterday, they couldn't really find it.
That is indeed the question. I'm interested to hear from your perspective, Maui, coming off of those games yesterday. The first two being incredibly close, but again, we were talking about that momentum and it was definitely shown on the final map, Vertigo. What were your key kind of takeaways from that matchup?
I didn't like the lack of depth in the T-side playbook for Godz. Thankfully for them on Vertigo, they never really had to show that because they had such a stellar CT side, and Triumph never really actually came back into that one. But I'm just worried for their T-sides. Chaos is a team that's been working together for a while now. They have a lot of protocols, a lot of procedures. They shouldn't be beaten by too many individual plays, especially on the CT side. For Godz, there's a lot of skill on that roster, but it's not like their CT sides and how they get themselves into rounds, how they find those opening picks is predicated off of some crazy team play that's with supporting flashes or trading procedures. It's usually just one guy going off. It's Infinite hitting a sick 1D. It's Zelsis pushing up mid on Mirage and finding a multi-frag out of nowhere, or Cooper just kind of laying it down with the op. It's worrying because Chaos, you know that they're going to be playing together, that they are going to use utility, and individual plays should get caught out.
Well, you mentioned Zelsis there, and we actually had a chance to chat with him ahead of his matchup, so let's see what he had to say.
The elimination game versus Triumph, Inferno was super close. I went to OT. And then Mirage, we were obviously up 15-3, I think, and we kind of got sloppy and loose, and then we started losing a bunch of rounds. They started gaining momentum, and then obviously everyone knows how that map ended. But overall, we're still happy with the win. I guess what we learned is that we still stayed strong and we reset for map 3. So I think that's good in a team to come clear-minded the next map, even though the series is not over, even though you should have won the map. You know, you never want to go into a match thinking you're going to lose. You know, you always, no matter who you're playing, you always want to think, you know, you're going to come out on top, even if you're the underdog or not the underdog. Chaos coming in to the elimination match, we beat them to qualify for DreamHack, so hopefully if we play them, we'll beat them to make playoffs. Yeah, nobody will be standing in our way, and we're going to make it through the playoffs.
Confident words there from Celsius, and a very apt point, actually. They've already beaten these guys to actually make their spot here. So I'm interested, Maui, what you have to think about Chaos coming into this.
I think that was maybe a little bit fluky, the fact that they were defeated before. Chaos is a roster that has stability. They're the only team in this bracket that have actually been together before this tournament. They've had the same five now for a couple of months, and players like Zeppa and Leaf have really showed their mettle lately, especially at the latest CS Summit, where things got a little bit controversial between those two players. But I think people can recognize that they are really talented. And Steel leading them all, I mean, he's whipping into shape these kids that are a little bit inexperienced. Maybe on another team, they wouldn't be showing the same kind of resilience. But man, I've been just so impressed with Zeppa in particular.
Yeah, and we obviously mentioned the 200 IQ brains of Steel yesterday. That was the big storyline coming into it. Christine, unfortunately, he didn't manage to take a map from Liquid, but do you have higher hopes for him coming into this match?
Yeah, definitely so. And I'm looking straight at Jonji. I feel like Jonji's not a player that I actually speak of that much because Zeppa and because Leaf, these two youngsters are so impressive. But actually, when I'm looking back at these past match histories, it's been Jonji that's been the consistent factor. And not only is he the consistent factor on the stats wise, but he's their entry. He's the player that has the no fear. He's the player that Chaos uses to buy that space. So I mean, if things remain consistent, I'm expecting Jonji to be at the top of the leaderboard again, being fearless and buying that space for Chaos.
No, I think that's actually a really good point. Looking at the scoreboard yesterday from that Liquid matchup, he was the second highest in terms of ADR across both maps in the entire server. So I think the question is going into this, Maui, is he going to be the one that you think needs to be stepping up?
I think the problem with expecting Jonji to step up is that usually for an entry fragger, if they're doing well, it means the game plan is good. It means that the strategies are on point. And if MCE and Steel came up with a good game plan, then yeah, I think Jonji will do well. But that again relies on the fact that maybe if ZPG did their homework, they did a little bit of research into the demos, know the kind of strats that Chaos are going to be throwing at them, then maybe Jonji might not do as well, and it'll be up to those other players to actually step in, to clutch out a round. Where's Vanity? Where's Leaf? What is Steel up to, you know?
Well, you mentioned Vanity there, a player that we haven't spoken too much about, but of course he is going to get his time to shine. We had a few words with him ahead of this matchup.
The ninth, and Team Liquid, they're starting to...
So I mean, game against Liquid, we lost both pistols on Mirage, 4 clutches. That map kind of makes it kind of unwinnable. And then on Inferno, we kind of just got smashed on CT side. So some takeaways, like watch the game back. We don't have much time to make adjustments, so and just hope we can make the middle adjustments. I mean, obviously we won't be playing a team that's as individually skilled as Liquid or as well thought out. I mean, they're still a good team. ZPG is still a good team, but it's not like Liquid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like we've been around the same level for so long. Like this, I guess me and Steel, and then their core, because I was with that core previously. So I mean, it's kind of, it's never fun losing to your old teammates. So hopefully we can win. Yeah, so I mean, their team died on stream less than a week ago, and they're still playing. So I don't know. It's always interesting to play teams that have nothing to lose. I hope we have a good game. Let's make this one fun.
Some spicy words there from Vanity to round things out. But I do want to pick up on a pretty interesting point that you made there about, the individual skill coming into this. Do you think this is going to be a defining factor in this match, Christine?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, ZPG, they are no strangers to competition. They've been around the block. And not only that, Infinite, he was actually so impressive at Flashpoint just a couple months ago. A lot of people had high hopes for him to be picked up by maybe a top team in NA. He certainly has that kind of potential. He's a heavy hitter, man. And the mechanics, they're not lacking anywhere else on the ZPG lineup. So certainly, I mean, if they're hitting on all cylinders and they get the momentum going on their side, Chaos are going to have to bring everything they can to stop that.
They are indeed, and we're going to find out exactly which maps this series is going to be going down on. Maui, why don't you start breaking this one down?
So Chaos can go with a couple of their openers, one of which I would like to see would be Nuke. Given that Godz, they haven't actually played with this 5 just yet on Nuke, so I would like to see that. Sorry. They picked Mirage earlier in this tournament at one point, but okay, they will be going with the Nuke, and that's probably what you should do. If you're against a team called Godz, you don't want to play the puggiest map in the pool.
That is definitely correct. Potter, what are you expecting for the rest of this?
I would have loved to see Chaos picking out that Mirage. As Maui mentioned, ZPG's T side, it was so lackluster. But I guess Nuke, you know, again, it's a very team-based heavy map. We just saw a team struggling on the CT defenses. It gets so hectic with the rotations. So I definitely understand it from that angle. And ZPG, if they haven't gone over their crossfires, it's going to be tough to defend off of Chaos.
Well, speaking of which, it's time to make our predictions. Maui, let's start off with you first. Who are you siding with?
I'm going to go with Chaos. I think the consistency with this roster should elevate them. Vanity playing against his former teammates as well. He has something to prove here, and Chaos and Steel should be taking this one.
What about you, Potter?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Chaos here as well. I think if they don't win this series, it's so disappointing. So it's got to be Chaos here.
I think I'm also going to be siding with you on the side of Chaos, but I'm interested to see if this series can go to the full 3 maps. And of course, I'm also interested to see our Twitch chat prediction poll. Let's see exactly where the fans are siding. 58% on the side of Chaos. I thought it would be more, I'm not going to lie.
That's close. That is really close. I mean, I guess it goes to show that name power, it still carries still strong. I mean, we've got Cooper on this lineup, Marky, Dazzle, a lot of well-known names on the side of ZPG.
Well, now we've made our predictions. It's time to see if they are right. And to do that, we have got to jump straight into this game. It's an elimination match, no less, to round off the day. The loser of this is going home. Will Chaos redeem themselves, or will ZPG make the run as the underdogs? Find out after this.
Our second North American best of 3 of the day, about to begin here on Inferno between Chaos and Godz. Listen, Vince, you don't jump over into our realm of Counter-Strike all too often, so I kind of wanted to give you a chance to talk about what you've seen from these teams, and let me know how you feel.
I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I think it's going to be a really close one, Squanny. I don't think there's enough to justify me sitting here and saying it's clear-cut 2-0 to Chaos. I think they're the favorites, and I think for good reason. I would feel that like they should win this game, but I could see it going 3 maps. I could see it being very, very close. I think yesterday we saw some glimpses of brilliance from Chaos, but they were in amongst some rough patches as well. They were against Liquid. Let's cut them a little bit of slack. But I know you also had a really interesting point regarding sort of Chaos's levels depending on who they play against as well.
Yeah, I think they're one of those teams that can, you know, they when they get a big chance at an upset, they'll generally perform pretty well. And we saw that yesterday versus Liquid. You know, like the pieces were there. Lights out performance from Jonji on the first map. Zeppa and Leaf putting in the work. Vanity brought that fresh op to the side of Chaos, and Steel has the clutch factor, and it all came into fruition. But will they be able to piece that together versus the opponents they should beat? Well, we're going to have to let them speak for themselves. But Zeppa, well, the guy's pretty good at Counter-Strike, Vince. He taps into the head of Infinite to begin the pistol. Zelsis jumping around the corner with the support of Dazzle will get that trade frag back. So a B bomb site post-plant retake attempt from Chaos is about to come in. 3v3 already as Jonji rounds the tippity top of Banana, and he's looking for his first target, but they're all back behind coffins and inside construction. Celsius has a grenade dunked on his feet. but still he's able to clap back versus Steel. And now they're just going to try and get on top of that bomb. They realize this post plant's not the best. And Janji, oh, he's almost got it all. The defuse so close. Leafy tucks, and Celsius can't get it. What is that? What are those?
Oh no, Celsius. No. Oh, mate. That's so rough to watch. It was a great round up until that point. We saw some of the slickest one-taps you've ever seen, but he misses so many bullets. Does get the kill, but it's too little too late. Oh, I'm so dejected and despondent for him. I can't imagine what's going through Zelsis' mind right now. He must be crushed.
Well, listen, he talked about it in the pre-match interview. Their ability to bounce back between maps after not being able to finish Mirage. That's a good sign for a team this fresh off the press. But that reset has to come now in round 2. Hopefully, I mean, that's one of the things. It's not like a failed clutch where like he just didn't check bomb and the guy gets it and then you feel bad in your own play and you lack your confidence. It's like you have to be able to laugh at that. If you don't laugh, you cry. He still has 312 ADR. Plus, the bonus money from that knife got him the AK full armored with grenades. So yeah, this is a solid purchase for Godz. You could definitely see a way where they just brush that off with a second round win. But oh man, I hope we get more of that. This series could be filled to the brim with shenanigans. We get that boost up from Janji, and he's able to find his opening kill. It's Zelsis in question now down. Marky trades back. Zeppa MP9 at a distance. Tough spot to be in. And Infinite almost caught by Steel, but that fresh reload gives him the chance, and the man advantage comes in with the bomb plant.
The smoke down in Ruins is going to be a bit of a nightmare. They may try and push through there with Leaf. HE to the back of the site, but Cooper takes it in the pocket, still alive. Had tons of HP before it landed perfectly on him. Now that aforementioned smoke has cleared up, and maybe there's a way back in. They have a kit, time running a little bit low, dangerously low now, but Leaf with the first frag looking for the second, gets Cooper. Last man standing is Infinite. He is great with the deagle. We saw it yesterday time and time again. He was landing frags. It's gonna be incredibly close, but Chaos just about get their second consecutive one-man defuse. Both of these rounds quite literally have gone down to the wire.
Incredible start to this first map, but yeah, Chaos, one survivor. Another big 3K coming out of Godz though. You know, first one belongs to Zelsis, the second's Infinite with his Deeg. And again, because of the consistency of bomb plants and knowing that they have the CTs against the ropes, it's the Godz that actually have a better buy. The economy has betrayed Chaos. Seems like terrorism pays off in the end, Vince. ZPG favored for this one off of the purchase, but with the wacky, wild nature of these first 2 rounds, I mean, anything can happen. And Chaos, they know that, so they're getting aggressive on Banana here, trying to take the map control they can, while the other 3 teammates just kernel up the defense on A. And it's a 5-man pain train here for ZPG. 1 splits off towards short, but 4 on Arch.
MP9s at long range, trash. Close range, though, Steel can make this work, especially if he goes unchecked. Leaf at the back of the site can perch up 1 kill, but no more. And it's going to be another one onto Pit. Chaos again eyeing up a 2v3 retake. We had this in the pistol. They pulled it off. Very different circumstance this time around, though. Both players have kits, an incendiary and a flashbang in the hands of Zeppa. But they only have a Galil between the 2 of them with the SMG. Going to be boosting up over the smoke. See if they can maybe take a head off some shoulders, but it was anticipated. Godz knew that was a possibility. They winged Zeppa, and he has to just back off. So ZPG, their 3rd consecutive bomb plant and 3rd time a charm. First round coming up for them.
This could have been the 3-0 start for Godz. I mean, so easily this could have been all them, but all right, they get through. There was a world where the defense held strong. Steel finds timing on the graveyard pop-up, but like you said, those MP9s close are where they do their damage. Infinite takes down the first one, clears out the back corner of the bomb site as well, and we have Chaos having to force into the situation, of course. You can't just let ZPG slide away with this. But again, the nature of this economy, I think this is one of those maps where our new cash system, man, there are still flaws to it. And it doesn't inherently play a factor in all matches, but at the start of this map, I feel like it definitely does. Poor Chaos. Almost feels like they may have been in a better position had they just lost from the get-go. But enough.
It's a cruel mistress, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not fair. But they'll deal with it. Yeah. They'll deal with it. We'll see if they handle it well. Still very much doable, this one. They catch the totem pole. Oh, nice spray by Jonji. 2 kills through smoke. Insta headshot versus Marky. Gives chase to Cooper even. Trying to go one better. Trying to take the entirety of Banana. Maybe getting his hands on a better gun. But all the while, Chaos, they activate off of the A-site steal. He jumps out, not suspecting Dazzle to be tucked so close. However, this could prime Leaf to maybe swoop out with a very crucial frag, because that kill versus steal is definitely going to draw ZPG to the A-site like a moth to a light. Vanity finding a shoulder peek, and the information confirmed. ZPG are sizing up this A-site. A team kill from Infinite. Dazzle, he goes down to his own teammate's gun, and now Infinite, he has to make up for it right here, right now. 3 more kills to go. He starts burning ever so slightly, and that won't help his endeavor, as Jonji also adds damage to the tally. It's Zeppa to close this one down.
Oof, unfortunate timing as well. You saw him just move to his right-hand side with his aim, just as he got peeked from arches. As you say, that Molotov stopped him from pushing left. He had to move into the arch. But this is the play. Jonji getting both the frags in Banana was huge. And you can't really blame Infinite for that, because he's not sure whether... You know, the CT could have just sprayed both players down. If you even get the indecisive for a moment, that indecision can cost you so dearly. So you may as well take the guaranteed frag where you can. Interestingly as well, by the way, Scrawny, I was watching Vanity's stream for a little while last night, and it turns out that Steel isn't the lone gunman in terms of leading this team. Apparently Vanity chips in for, like, I think what he said was 40 to 50%. Not just in the practice server, but also when it comes to comms. So it seems like it's more of a split up IGLing role on the Chaos side, which I found very interesting to hear.
I think that's where Vanity's value as a player starts to come in a bit. You know, he's a hardworking guy, so it seems. And Steel would need a right-hand man. And he's not going to lean on his younger fraggers, but somebody who's been around the block. And Vanity has been. He still is. To be played safe. Infinite looking to get something of an opening here towards Bout. Gets the first Eagle. His Desert Eagle's looking deadly this evening, and that's good for him. But Leaf, well, he's got that M4. Weapon advantage. Pops back up for the 3rd kill. Vanity finds the 4th, and he is stranded in pit as Dazzle looks to Goomba stomp the guy in the back of it, but he just can't quite get around those corners in time. So Chaos, they'll take themselves another round, and ZPG with the curb purchase just couldn't quite get on site, but they made it close. They almost could have pulled off the bomb plant had just maybe 1 or 2 kills gone back their way. And we're where we want to be now, Vince. We've got guns on all.
AK-47s for everybody on ZPG. Chaos find themselves with M4s, so assault rifles certainly the order of play. Fair amount of utility as well, though. So as you say, I mean, all the healthy pickings and dosages that you could really ask for. Up until this point, it's been a very strange game, economically speaking. Both teams have been having a bit of a rough go of it, and you're seeing that resulting in this round as well. Plenty of players. It's really only Zeppa and Leaf that have any money in their savings come the end of this, depending on what happens. ZPG going out aggressively through middle. Smokes being deployed from the CTs, though, blockading the middle push. Well-timed. HE's behind it. But ZPG, not too aggressive. They didn't overextend, so they're barely going to get affected by them. And there's not much utility behind it now for Chaos. They only have 2 smokes and 1 flash to play with.
Nervous about the corners here on Banana, but the defense from Chaos just on that backside box. I saw Jonji in the warm-up landing the jump from the fountain in the middle of the B site onto that new box, so he can boost himself there on his own. They're learning. But they have two players back there, and he falls off empty-handed. Zeppa dies very swiftly, and Jonji, he is just burnt to a crisp as Dazzle gets that late lurk on A, which he tends to do. You know, we saw this. We saw the Inferno gameplay from ZPG in their opening matchup. I'm a fan of it. Dazzle can find good timing in apps. Evidently so here in the 6th round, the second of which belongs to ZPG. And if they can keep 5 guys alive, we're talking money in the bank, cash in the coffers.
That money is looking pretty grim right now. ZPG going to be in hotly contested waters over on the A side, of course, not where the bomb will detonate, but where the final bloodshed may very well be spilled. And spill it shall, but it goes against the T's. Their endeavors to take away these two M4s unsuccessful. With these two save weapons and Jonji down to 1400, I wouldn't be surprised to see a force buy. They're in a situation where they may have to double eco on at least one of these players, or at least Jonji's going to have a really bad buy in the next round. So while you have the two M4s, Leaf can drop, Zeppa could buy something alongside Steel. So I think that's why they're calling the timeout, Scrawny, because they want to make sure they're all on the same page and figure this out.
Sure. I can get behind it. We've had a pause from ZPG. We get one from Chaos. 2 pauses, 6 rounds deep. I'm a fan of that. Nothing hurts me more than close games that end with like stacks of timeouts towards the very close of it all. Get ahead of it while you still can. And what's the calculated buy here? How do we move our pieces around? Tons of utility, 3 M4s. Steel taking one for the team. He's got the Deagle, lackluster nades. But if they can kill somebody early, then he will be well equipped off of the back of that. So they go for the 3-man B play with that Deagle in position. MP9 close and personal.
Feels like indecision, Scrawny. They actually bought a Deagle from Vanity, who then dropped it to Jonji, who then got an M4, and then Steel bought himself a Deagle. So it seems to me they made a split-second decision, half buy, and then they decided against it and went into a full buy instead.
Oh.
By buying that Deagle, they actually left themselves with much lower utility, and you're seeing the effects of it now. They do have 4 smokes. They just tossed one out on arches. 3 left, but no incendiaries, HEs, and lack of flashbangs. If ZPG were successful in this round, they are at least looking like they're going to tie this up, and it could get a whole lot better. Well-placed smoke, though, from Chaos, as they have 3 players over on the B side at the moment. They can quickly rotate. Jonji, who is playing that rotating position of CT, can quickly scamper around Speedway and go and help his compadres out on the A side. And it seems like the call may come through sooner rather than later. He stuck around for a long time here, though. 35 seconds up on the clock and still no bloodshed. Nothing has really happened other than some flirtatious grenades.
Leaf and Vanity about to try and hold back a 2 versus 5. It's Leaf inside of the pit, Vanity on the bomb site. He's got the angle onto short, dodges the flash. Celsius is trying to be that entry, and he goes down. Now Leaf activates from the back of pit. It's 1 kill apiece, so an even 3v3, and bomb planted just in the nick of time. Low utility means that there's not much for the retake attempt for Chaos. They'll have to maybe wait out this smoke unless Jonji thinks he can cheat through the side of it. His teammates are coming around from mid, and by the time they get into position, the molly will have burnt itself out. I think there's still a gap for Jonji to go through that not entirely blind. Marky and Cooper in the depths of the bomb site, Infinite ready to pop right up. It's only Zeppa with a kill. Marky gets the 2 AK headshots, Infinite with 1 to the tally, and ZPG with 3 rounds on the board, only trailing by 1. A nice attempt by both Vanity and Leaf to lock down the site, but they had to get more than 1 kill each, or else that bomb was always going down.
Yeah, exactly. That was the problem. And there was about 12 seconds to go when the execution came into play. So I was thinking that Chaos actually had that. Very nice entry work from ZPG. Take nothing away from them, but Chaos will be... I'll be a bit a pill to swallow, I would say, because they'll feel like they had a real shot of making that force buy work. Instead, it's pistols, it's smokes. And Steel's the only player that's fully invested. Still has $700, but he's going to be feeling that next round. But at least with these smokes, they can stall for a great deal of time. Maybe have a discussion about the next round, see if they can waste some of ZPG's economy in the form of Molotovs and HEs. And hell, maybe even they could force ZPG into an awkward engage late again. And that's where these Deagles and P250s can really start to shine.
Ooh, they throw a smoke and try to catch him off with timing. I thought they were just going to hang out and keep hotboxing the top of Banana, keeping him boxed out with those smokes, but nope. Okay. I mean, that's what we would all expect because that's what we normally see with that sort of a purchase. But I like the gusto, Vince. They try to put a little spit shine on it. Doesn't work in the end, so make of it what you will. But they tried.
Gotta give it hustle.
Yeah,
like
good.
That is the kind of play that when you have pistols and a very low investment, we often talk about, team stacking size, going for the Astralis stack, going for these audacious like middle plays, etc. That's in the same wheelhouse. Like you said, most times you're not expecting a play like that. And ZPG, fair play to them, they were anticipating a potential push, and that's why they thwarted it. But you could also have seen another realm where Chaos go aggressively, catch ZPG maybe in like a set play, right? Pulling smokes out to land on coffins and CT. They're completely vulnerable. They steamroll Banana. They get 2 or 3 weapons. They win the round. Like, there is a way forward, and you have to take those big gambles in pistol rounds where there's very low risk. It's kind of like risk versus reward, right? The risk is low because you don't have that much really built into the round. The reward is vast.
I feel like Steel's one of those leaders that generally comes into those sorts of rounds with a layer of preparation. He's got to play out the gate. I think we saw some really nice calls actually unfolding versus Liquid on Mirage. I remember most notably the round where they put Leaf in the bottom of Underpass versus Liquid's half buy and just completely surrounded them when they tried to force their hand in that B bomb site. So we'll keep our eyes open for it, see how much counterplay maybe comes out, but because that player had an AK instead of a nade in the darkest corners of Banana, well, it didn't quite work the way they had hoped for. But trying to make a miracle with a minimal buy, it's given respect indeed. But down they go, away from Banana. In fact, the T's heading over to the A site, where they've had some fun. Leaf, that one AK saved, in a hell of a position. Oh, they might line up. They better flash him, or else he's just going to hit some headshots. He's 9-4 at the moment. They're smoking off the opposite side. He looks away for a moment, and he comes up empty-handed. Excellent opening. Not only dropping Leaf off of the rooftop, but dealing with Steel just beneath him. And that's all this A site had to offer. So absolutely a 5th round here for ZPG, which means they have the lead.
Oh, they certainly do. And considering that 2 rounds at the very beginning of this half went down to 1v1s, the first round being Zelsys missing out, of course, with the Glock, had those have not fallen into such shape, you could be looking at like a 7-1 scoreline here. Easy. It's actually kind of ludicrous that Chaos have even been able to get 4 rounds. Like, they've really stolen these away. And I respect the hustle. You've got to be pulling in those 1v1s and getting a bit fortunate in some cases and forcing mistakes, these unforced errors from your opposition. They all add up. Come the end of the score, it doesn't matter how you got there. If you get a win, then you move 1 step closer to winning this best of 3. Chaos, not going to be able to save with John G as he gets blown up by the bomb, but at least Vanity can pick up an AK, so that's decent. And now they can buy behind it.
Yeah, little silver lining towards the end of it all. Could we get Vanity's perspective quickly, please? Look at that. Brand new flip knife Ruby Doppler. Whew. Bought it yesterday, I believe.
Probably cost him a kidney.
Yeah. Yeah, a kidney and half his soul. But listen, the devil deals in good knives, Vince.
True, it is a beauty as well. So fair play.
But more importantly, we're back in with the gun rounds, of course. The knife, the least of the arsenal here for the side of Chaos. They finally have some guns to try and hold players back. Vanity with the op even. I'm looking to Cooper to try and make moves. We know that on Inferno, and most notably, he kind of had a bit of a struggle with the T side, not because he's weak, no sir, but rather because it's just a difficult job to get the op rolling. Once he was on the defense, he started to get really aggressive, take those mid peaks, look to really kind of, imprint his name on the server. But it's definitely, I think, I think it's definitely clear that it's a more difficult job to get the op firing off on this T-half for ZPG. Luckily for them, they have very capable entry fraggers on the AKs. So give Cooper a post plant. I remember that 1v3 in overtime. Oh, do I ever. They've gotten themselves onto the cusp of the B site. A little bit of utility thrown back the other way. Could delay for a just bit of timing here. 30 seconds left over. Jonji, he's hiding behind first oranges. Dodges the flash. And it's a second from Zeppa. Jonji as well. Just going to lock this down. Commits to the spray. And Cooper can find nothing. Chaos with 5 players up. Thanks to Jonji's and Zeppa's solid hold.
That flashbang from Vanity was so good. This is one of the things I love that CS has put in with those flash assists, because you could see when they were pushing onto Jonji, and again, that 3K is lovely. Like, what he does there is huge. Brilliant play. But you see them both coming, holding their faces. Like, their retinas were completely burnt out of their skull. That flashbang destroyed them.
Here's Cooper on the forefront, looking to pluck a man off Banana. He's got the wall bang lined up. It's just wall's a bit too thick, Vince. And then Jonji falls all the way back. So he's going to have to take a far larger risk if he wants this straight up op duel. Of course, Jonji on the sniper, but still Vanity too. He's hanging his over on Arch side. Oh, ow. A solar flare of a flashbang there. And it's not just Jonji. Steel eats that too. Here on the B site for Jonji. He's not going to let off the gas pedal. He just drives right through Marky. This could start to prioritize an A play here for ZPG. And if they do so, then maybe they find it to their man advantage. But Coop, he comes back to the top of Banana, claws one off, doesn't see Steel on the side of the smoke, I don't think. Oh, but still goes into the peak to get him. Vanity, he's stuck behind the tiny pillar, and he too toppled. So just like that, it's ZPG in a 3v2 to their favor, but it's right back into even keel. And all the while, the Godz have found footing on the B site. They had Chaos give it up, move elsewhere, back into their spawn, so the retake's on.
It's on, and both CTs coming from the same direction. Incendiary, smoke, flashbang, all valuable assets to have. You'd almost rather have these than an extra player retaking B site. But do they put them in the right positions? If that incendiary goes to New Box or Shadow, this could be done deal. But Chaos, they're running out of time. They've got to get a move on. They've got to get out, and in doing so, they go and uncheck one angle. Molotov goes in the right place. He's going to deal with the first player. Zelsis gets sprayed down. Is there time? I don't think there is. And Leaf, unfortunately, gut-wrenchingly for him, is going to have to bid adieu in this round, not just to the defuse, but his life is deemed forfeit. He will not save his gun, and that is costly in so many different ways.
Cooper, the trooper of this round, 3 kills for him. One of which in the post plant there, burned. He was going down no matter what. For him to take a player with him's huge. He just doubled his kill count in that last round. The 11th has his name written all over it. Double sniper setup immediately back out from Chaos. A first half that's as close as can be. Jonji charred as he comes off of Banana, but goes right back in. Not shying away whatsoever. Marky, he's going to dive back behind smoke. Molotov goes burning onto the logs, and it looks like Chaos looked to re-aggress, but Vanity, he locks down Arch with that first op shot, removing Dazzle. Marky, he gets himself 2. Steel back into the 3v3 as he cuts one off at the top A, but the Godz feel they're opening towards this B site. And Marky, who got the ball rolling, could just be the boulder that shatters through the little defense that remains. Vanity smoked off, but a gap. And even though he's flashed, he finds the back of Zelsis. Bomb's going to be planted regardless. Oh, and he jumps into Cooper's sniper. So again, Coop has this back position. And Steel and Leaf rocking it back around from Banana. Marky, he's over towards the coffins. Cooper, he could be fixated over on spawn, but they're giving a lot of room for the CTs to get ever closer. Marky welcomes the challenge as he's going to find Steel hopping through the sky. And Leaf, 12 and 5, looking for his 13th and 14th frag so far. Cooper, he's back there. He knows it. A little bit of damage, a frag to soften him up, and a headshot connects. But yet again, there's just no time.
And yet again, it's Leaf in a 1v1 that just has to watch as the bomb ticks away from underneath him. He's on 14-5, and his team trails 7-5 overall. The guy is doing everything you could ask and more, but they're unable to hold on to B side, it seems. That appears to be the Achilles heel that Chaos just can't get to work out. And now their economy is in shambles. Steel goes for a force. Everyone else, by and large, half buy. Incendiary down middle. But Chaos is slipping out of this half. It is ZPG's choice of map, so I won't be singing the alarm bells just yet, but Scrawny, this has got to be such a frustrating half of CS for Chaos.
You tell me. And they have been close to it so many rounds. And this is what we were kind of expecting, right? Like if this game starts to get dirty, if we start going blow for blow in the bayous, I'm all for it, man. A little bit of mud wrestling. Jonji, dirty deagle headshot into Cooper. There goes one. Oh, Zeppa's going to follow up with the CZ. Dazzle, though, he finds his opening. Leaf, with that AK, decides to walk down mid. Could open up a huge avenue of assault. Dazzle, he's found a route through Arch side as well. What are his options? Well, he could try and challenge CT to split with the man on B already, but nope. Dazzle's just doing everything he can. It's like he's got 3 sets of hands as he looks to focus everywhere, but a little too stagnant in the end. He finds his back turned to Zeppa, who just catches the better timing of him. And because they're so outnumbered, they could allocate 2 to 3 CTs in just finding Zelsis. Marky didn't seem to be that much of an issue because he was last spotted on Banana, and you already had the 1B defender fully committed to him. It was finding Dazzle and making sure that he didn't slip into your rotation or backline to screw over any sort of a retake attempt. But now the question is, will this bomb even be planted? Marky, 1v4, and he gets rushed. The MAC-10 makes the difference, and if Chaos were beating themselves up about what could have been, Vince, they were just given a stark reminder that they can continue to succeed despite these heartbreaking round losses. The bomb's blown up in their face twice on that B site, but they just won a round with only pistols, and you take what you can get. They could still finish with a lead if they secure these final 2 rounds.
Especially considering, Scrawny, that they've just broken ZPG's economy in the process. They're down to $1,400, $1,800, $1,700. Like these guys are got to save. And if they are going to force, it's going to be a very poor one. Although Dazzle already has chipped in with a MAC-10, so that's a declaration that they probably will force behind that with the timeout coming through. It's been a very up and down roller coaster of emotions for both teams. First off, ZPG will feel hard done by. They didn't have like a 7-1 lead with how close the rounds were. And then it was Chaos's turn. They were coming so close. They're 7-6. The scoreline nearly even. And it's looking like we're going to have a very close finale to this half. Who will lead? Let's find out. ZPG with their force buy, taking a little bit of chip damage down on middle. With a buy like this, it suggests we're going to have a very fast, in-your-face kind of strat. And with 3 players from Chaos on B side, that could spell the demise of ZPG in round 14. Here comes the push. Grenade damage is significant, but the counter kills are too. ZPG go 2-2, and they can pick up some weapons from this.
Mm-hmm. And those weapons couple oh so nicely with the Kevlar protection that all 3 Ts still hold on to. They've got grenades as well if they want to try and give themselves some temporary cover, but they just walk right into the crosshair of Steel. And Infinite, with the tiniest bit of cover, is looking to plant that bomb. Dazzle with the MAC-10, he's trying to contemplate what the post-plant position should be. Do you want to try and play Banana with that MAC-10? Seems not. He instead decides to commit to pit, and there it is. That's exactly what he was looking for. Oh, but Vanity just through the side of the smoke gets it back, and Infinite trades for the close. ZPG with just their pistols finds the AKs on the top of Banana and turns it all around. Oh, Dazzle. Those 2 kills are key.
I am so surprised that Dazzle was able to get 2 kills. It seemed like neither of the CTs were looking at the pool, though. Like, they didn't realize that was a possibility.
Yep, because I think what's far more likely is he takes an AK and plays post-plant in Banana. I think that's the play he would normally make. You saw him work in that direction, but then he had that moment of reflection. Oh, and Cooper with the drive-by versus John G. Galil kill and a 5v3 off of the back of it. A 3-round advantage at the end of the T side on Inferno would be exactly what ZPG want to walk away with. And I mean, this is it. Last chance saloon. 15th round. They just take the full-up gamble. Come onto the A site or try and desperately retake B with lackluster grenades and even lesser weapons. I like that at this moment, Zipug Godz just take a chance to catch their breath. They have a double man advantage, way more grenades, and far better guns. Close this half with conviction.
Yeah, I appreciate that they are taking their sweet time. They know the importance of getting a 9-6 lead. They win that second pistol, they're in a phenomenal position. ZPG, though, need to be careful because they're pushing onto the stacked side. And with 30 seconds, all it takes for this M4 or MP9 to land a couple of frags, and that could be all she wrote. But Zeppa, fully flashed, being dealt with accordingly. Steel doubles up, and the half will be 9-6 to ZPG on their choice of map.
How hard can you go? 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 How hard can you go when the beat drop? How hard can you go when the beat drop?
Zipug Godz locking down a 3-round lead as they close out that T side of their map choice. Chaos, it's their turn to dish out the damage. We'll see what they have for us. Infinite at the top of Banana, about to get hit hard.
Could lead in with a fast-paced pistol round. Two of them try and push through, and Infinite ran out of bullets. You could hear the click as the magazine was ran dry. And then his head splattered He just made sure all the back angles have been covered and there's no pesky second CT waiting in the wings to deal some fatal blows. Steel, with the smallest of margins, is still going to tap down 2 heads. And now Cooper 1v5 gets wrecked by Steel. Listen, he might be a boomer in terms of CS terms, but this guy can still frag out no problems.
Yeah, he's still got it in the bag. Look at this. Ah, you little rat. That's such a nice angle. And then even this one, like he posts up to finish Cooper with just a slightly wider angle. Okay. I like it. Obviously, ZPG not so happy to lose that second pistol, but at the same time, they'll be given a halfway decent buy. And I'm looking at Cooper to get unleashed now. We saw a stark contrast in the space he was able to create yesterday or whenever. When it came to that scoped gameplay here on Inferno. Keep your eyes on him. He's going to be peering down middle. He's going to be looking for early picks. Sometimes even getting a bit more aggressive and going for the top of alt mid peak. But only when he has support around him. With the scout, the job's simple. I say that like it's easy. Deal the damage necessary for the CZs and 1dig to just get this one over the line. He started the round over at the A site, peering down middle. Now he's back over here towards B. That's the majority of Godz on this bomb site.
I just feel inspired watching Steel play, man, because he gives me hope, you know? That just because you're getting on in years, you're getting towards your late 20s, early 30s, you can still stand. You can still trade out. You can still be a beast. Very impressed with his performance yesterday on Mirage in particular. And he's continuing it here on Inferno. 33 seconds, Chaos still need to get themselves into position to strike. Again, this is where things get a little bit scary. As John G peeking around the corner, gets nailed, and then finished off with the scout. The bomb is now transitioning towards A, but have a quick look. Dazzle is in the wings with his CZ. He needs to get taken down, and taken down he does. Chaos clean it up briskly at the tail end of the round, but I was getting a little bit nervy there for Chaos because of how low the time was.
It was getting down to the wire. I think everybody was feeling a little bit nervous. Zelsis with the Zeus. Let's see what that has in store. 3 Galils, AK Mac 10. Clear, obvious advantage here versus the unarmored players. Oh, lordy, lordy. John G on the Mac 10. About to have way more than he can handle, perhaps. Luckily, he's got Zeppa to try and help him, but Zeppa dies first. It's the Glock out for John G, as that bomb's immediately going to head into the A site, and, well, they'll find that one for free at least. But it's a Galil offered over to Coop, and a Mac 10 for a Dazzle. So, cost-effective for Godz, seeing as there was no cost.
I've noticed a couple of times as well, Scrawny, that John G seems to be, I don't know if it's lagging or bad FPS, but it seems like he's kind of stuttering around corners. So I'm hoping it's okay on his end, but something I've noticed a couple times. Maybe it is the client as well. It's a bit buggy. I'm not sure. Either way, ZPG going to be conceding a 9th round. Chaos tying it all back to an even affair again. Dazzle will not be able to survive out of the round with any weapons at all. He is denied in the most authoritative of ways. Cooper will keep the Galil, so at least they have that going for them. But I mean, they would be able to buy decently anyway, regardless. So in a case, he'd probably actually prefer the M4 over the Galil, but Zelsis will take it, allows him to build up his economy and get a full dosage of grenades. But a timeout comes in for Chaos. They realize the importance of this first full rifle round on both teams.
Again, kind of like the way the first half started, Vince. We're taking our timeouts before you may necessarily need them, just to make sure everything's smoothed out. Whoever wins this one's getting them double digits. Cooper on the op. You know, it's been a bit sad for me as a Cooper fan, having watched a couple of maps, you know, so far this event. Cooper hasn't been that, like, that massive step forward that I was looking for. You know, I thought ZPG would have some op dominance in the tank, and I think it's still there. I think that untapped potential across what we've seen thus far is maybe a good thing. You know, it's a blessing in disguise, because when that does start to come out, I don't know if Chaos can answer. You know, Vanity, he has recently taken that primary op role. Cooper, he's been swinging the big green for ages. And Steel, oh my God, he just walks all the way up apps unannounced. They kick in the front door of ZPG's house, and Dazzle, he goes empty-handed off of the side of pit. Thank God for Marky. 2 kills, one of which through smoke to get back that man advantage, if even just barely. Steel, oh, low health, falls to the headshot of Infinite. And now Jonji's going to have to come in big with the clutch. Man, has he ever been the X factor for Chaos at times. And he's got 2 players that he could easily line up on the back of this site. He is inside of the smoke. I don't know if they're going to be watching this. Marky, he's an easy kill. It's about to follow up onto Infinite, who's hiding behind the box. What an excellent bait and switch. Infinite sacrificing his teammates to the Godz, but the drought is over, and ZPG hit 10 first and foremost.
The drought over, and Marky opened up the sky with those kills. That was huge, as you said. Not just 2 frags, but also tagging down that 3rd player to 7 HP. I think it was Steel who was stuck in mini pit, and 1 bullet finished him off. So Marky, the man of the moment in round 19, but now into 20. Chaos have AKs. They're going to be mixing up the pace, looking to try and pressure on the banana side. Good kill from Zeppa, but a solid grenade counteracts. Does 81 damage in the process. Not too shabby at all. Zels is tossing in a Molotov, going to stop them from capitalizing on that momentary weakness. They can bolster up that defense. Does leave A a little bit vulnerable. And with plenty of time left, Chaos are in no great rush. They can slow down the pace and turn it down to a simmer.
Time to shine, Cooper. He's got that full belt of utility as well. Solo player on the B hold. They're going to counter him with utility. He decides to drop his own. Molly should keep them back for now. You see that deep incendiary usage to the B bomb site. Those will burn out by the time he gets into position, but Leaf, he's opened a door elsewhere. That's going to stutter step Zelsis on the rotate. Cooper with near non-existent cover. Oh, but the lineup is good. Zelsis damaged through the smoke. Gets it at least back to the just 1-man disadvantage. And Zeppa, he takes good close proximity inside of the construction. Zelsis, he may not expect this. Nope. Walks right in and gets cleared out hard. Dazzle now looking to replace it, but Zeppa doubles down. 4 kills for him on the B hit. 10 rounds apiece.
Zeppa's feeling it, man. We saw this yesterday. We saw glimpses of what this man is capable of. Excellent, exquisite double peak for his 4K. And the Pug Gods, their winning streak comes to an abrupt end, and it really wasn't much of a streak. Now Chaos, with their full weaponry, going to be contending against 2 Deagles and a smoke. In terms of the default positions at the moment, ZPG mixing it up a little bit, pushing 3 players over on B. Now, in a similar position to this, ZPG were up against Chaos when they picked up all smokes and they went for that very aggressive banana play where they just try to catch them off guard. Be interesting to see if ZPG go for something similar. They don't have a great deal of utility. They saw Infinite just go for a shoulder peek. It drew out a flashbang at least, but it doesn't really give Chaos a lot of information. So they're still going to be extending the utility. Make sure sandbags is clear. Make sure no one's up close. Good spray in with a flashbang alongside it, and Jonji putting them in good shape to convert this anti-eco round.
There's a lot of firepower right here on this B site. It's a matter of finding the pistol players, but Zelsis back behind the cover. Cooper swings out from the smoke for 1, and that's about all you can ask of that B site hold. They rock bomb back with it being completely open. Dazzle, he's going to start moving around on Arch. If he can cut off some players before bomb gets over, they may have to sprint back to the B site. 30 seconds left. Oh, he finds the timing, but not quite the headshot. Vanity could have been the casualty. That may have slowed down bomb. 25 seconds left over, and the bomb dips out, ducks out. It's gone.
It certainly has gone, as has round 21. In the rear view mirror, ZPG just got to keep pushing forward and push forward into weapons they shall do. AWP and M4s to accompany the all-important sniper rifle. Vanity has one of his own, picking up that mantle. John G, good spawn to peek up Banana and throw a Molotov in to try and stave off a push. That's a lot of utility that's been used already from ZPG. That's a Molotov and 2 HEs. So pretty costly. They don't get a great deal out of it. Just the clarity of mind and the peace of mind and not pushing. But Dazzle, speaking of pushing, one of the first aggressive plays we've seen from ZPG on their CT side as he goes straight into T side of apps. And you can see from Steel's perspective, he has no idea that this is even a distinct possibility, but he may have just about survived. However, that could do more harm than good because now Dazzle comes down to T steps. That's the AWP dead. He's about to see the bomb and he has enough utility to keep them at bay. And while they have to be very careful of his positioning, this is where the rest of the CTs could start to snap into place and just choke Chaos out. This play from Dazzle is huge.
Thing is they don't know what else the CTs have. And look how passive the counter-terrorists are. Dazzle is being left to his own devices, and they dealt with the threat. No push into the apartment, because that could have very well gotten caught by Leaf. If the CTs assumed that they could have caught up with Dazzle without being found themselves, they would have been wrong. So they had to leave him on his own. And obviously everybody focuses back on it. Cooper, he plucks Leaf off of the balcony, but it's the B site that's in question. Bomb on the cusp of it. And the 2 defenders from ZPG are back on CT side. Trying to put shots through the smoke. They may go for the boost if needed. 15 seconds. Smoke's gonna start to fade. Janji taking a ton of damage. Both players tagged up, but still alive and kicking. Zeppa, almost caught off by that spray. And now it's the chance for Chaos to claw back. They've got 2 keys back on double orange. What is that? Infinite walks in with a knife out and gets obliterated by Zeppa. Now they've got the cross. Steel literally lining them up and almost taking them down. Zeppa 1v3. CT's coming in from the same position. He gets the first, and it's a collective of counter-terrorists to tie this round at 11.
Excellent retake in the end, but I mean, what Dazzle ends up doing, not just getting the kill and the bomb information, look at how long they had on that execute. It was down to 30 seconds. This meant that they had to sacrifice. One of their players hopped out of balcony, effectively got shot, and they tried to draw out the rotation. But the problem was that he died, and then there was no instant engage afterwards. They waited too long. The CTs threw an incendiary down onto the top of Banana. The Ts couldn't push in. So even though they sacrificed the player to try and force the rotation, they didn't capitalize on it, Scrawny. And that's why those 2 players spamming through the smoke did such a ridiculous amount of damage, because they were forced into a bottleneck, the Ts. And they didn't have time to check all of these angles. So 11 to 11, ZPG now going up for another buy alongside Chaos, and both teams' economy hanging by a thread.
Infinite's in the hot seat. He ran out construction with his knife out. That could have given Zeppa the confidence in a post plant to have just done something special. But Steel, I mean, he does the damage to those 2. Alas, back into the B site, immediately just charging down Infinite. And look how quick those entries come about. Instantaneous frags on the B site. Like a hot knife through butter. Chaos just rolling in the pan. Oh, there could have been more damage done. If we could see these 3 CTs still walk away with guns, then maybe they have a chance at keeping this game close, but it will be Chaos back with the 1-round lead. But that lead has been just so back and forth. Dazzle's looking to do some more damage, but it's going to cost him. Vanity waiting for it. Yeah. He's like, you want to catch me in apps? Remember, he was the victim when Dazzle first got in there. Vanity's not going to fall for your tricks twice.
Might see a timeout here for ZPG as they figure out if they want to force behind these 2 save weapons. Plus, it's such an important moment in this game on their choice of map, and I'm not surprised to see this. I'm totally on board with this timeout because They need to figure out, do we want to force, knowing that if we force and lose, that could be the map over, but are we going to have much better opportunities to shift the momentum around right here, right now? They could scrounge together a buy. It is possible, it is feasible that Marquis and Cooper both drop. It does mean that they're going to be having a lack of utility if they drop down to the FAMASIs or maybe even M4s. So I think what they're going to go for here is play it a little bit more safely. They still have firepower. They still have the ability to win this round outright and then get themselves straight back into this. But at the same time, they don't want to put all the chips in just yet. They've still got time.
Now got some top shelf analysis versus Liquid. Once Chaos started shooting the dead bodies, they didn't win another round following the fact. All right. They got a little too big for their own britches. If they start getting that happy, that excited yet again, maybe this one turns on its head. Stay focused, Chaos. You are in the lead. You have the better economy, but the map's not over just yet. There will come a time to celebrate. As long as you finish what lies ahead. Opping Cooper with a kill onto Jonji, who's already just sunk back into the depths of B. He's got Zelsis to try and help him, and that means that the two players who were tagged for ZPG, both on the same side of the map, and they're going to leave the B site, Vince. The two weapons are too valuable. I kind of like this call. Again, if you don't stop them outright at the B site, we saw something similar from Chaos when they closed their last round of the CT side. They went 3 players on the A site, took that full-on gamble, and it nearly worked. It doesn't seem to be the case because Chaos have this affinity for B. But again, the reward, Cooper's op is valuable, and Marky's AK2. Move that into the next round where everybody else can buy. Sure, you'll be trailing by 2, but this map not nearly over.
Yeah, I mean, you've just nailed it. That's exactly what DPG are hoping for. Save together. Chaos's economy is in place, to be fair, where they could justify hunting for some of these guns, but it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you can deny some of these weapons. On the other, if you run into this crossfire, you could just gift-wrap another 2 AKs across to the CTs, which just bolsters up their next buy. So you're in the lead. You don't need to go for risks. Just chill. 8 players going to survive out the 10 that come into it. No problems. Chaos are going to have a 2-round lead. And now ZPG, the pressure builds. It mounts on their shoulders. It's everything up to them. Chaos can just keep running through the motions. This T-half has been pretty damn solid. It's up to the CTs to gain that respect back and show us they have what it takes to bring this game and take their choice of map home.
Healthy buy, obviously, again, made possible by those 2 saved weapons. Hell, that actually leaves them a little bit of extra cash in the bank. Marky and Cooper are going to have the money they may need if things get into the nitty-gritty. Chaos looking for that 14. Little flashbang here from Jonji. Oh my god, he is blind. Zelsis absolutely robbed. And then Zeppa, he knows that Infinite's committed to the corner. He was supposed to have the teammate, but again, Jonji blind finds that frag on the further of the 2 players. Zelsis having a rough go of it here on Inferno, and that's not going to leave him feeling any better. Cooper, he's patient enough to let the first man cross, and he topples the second in line. Misses the follow-up shot, but Dazzle giving cover. Drops the bomb carrier, and Leaf Barrel has already been seen. They know exactly where he's at. He's got a good headshot versus Marky, but Dazzle makes the difference. 3 kills for him. And for the player who has, alongside Zelsis, done so much work yesterday, the 2 of them have been particularly quiet so far this evening. Dazzle looks to turn that around. We were relying on Infinite and Marky to get this team this far. Dazzle has caught up. Cooper is taking the place of Zelsis as one of the top fraggers here on Inferno because, again, the talent runs deep. They don't need the same stars to shine, but Jonji has been the consistency across these series, and he is nearly dead here at the start of the 26th. Again, a purchase made possible by all the extra money that the CTs have left over. That save 2 rounds ago is what enables this double sniper setup in the 26th. They could still tie at 13 each. A solid hold on that A site off of the back of Dazzle's best efforts.
Yeah, Cooper owes him a beer after that hold, to be honest, because Cooper missed a pretty straightforward shot, and that misfire on short could have cost him the round had it have not been for Dazzle's big double frag. As it stands, though, minute left on the board, and Chaos now traipsing over their final player who was watching from A to join the rest of the troops. Declaration of intent. We're going to see the action coming in. Infinite, he failed to extinguish the Molotov, and in doing so, he burnt between the two of them. And that's put even more pressure on the shoulders of Zelstis, who's going to go down. But Cooper made fast movements back in. However, he's all alone, and his teammates are nowhere near him. They need to get a move on. They've got to push in.
Oh, I thought for sure the T's were going to push him. Chaos has such an affinity for back coffin control in these post plants. Normally, if Zeppa's alive, he's taking that risk. But it's Zepug Godz to take no risk. The same way the save 2 rounds ago got them this setup, they have to let this slide. That is a heartbreaking situation for Infinite. He's on top of double oranges. Molly in between and a Molly to his left to clear new box. He throws the smoke at his feet. It goes through the flames on top of orange and instead pops on the fire that was down below on the ground level, Vince. The smoke went through the fire because it didn't make contact with a hard surface. He didn't hit the orange boxes. He threw it through the flames. Doesn't work like that. It should, but it doesn't. And because of that, he just burns alive. Zelstis, I mean, they were all on him. Cooper, he tucks into construction with 1, and he is lucky to even get out of that situation. But we're right back at it. Chaos looking for that 15th round. 4-man early play from ZPG at Banana. And Chaos, they may read into this. If they stampede charge straight to A, it's 1 defender. It is only Dazzle. Molly over the top by Jonji. They are going to crunch him. And sure enough, it's an instant headshot. There's the peek from Marky, almost catching more than 1 off guard. But Jonji's a big scalp to take, and I think ZPG, the same situation. If last round they had to go into the save, then once more, their hands are tied. Vince, the last 2-3 rounds have not been decided by just straight arms, but rather economic decisions. They have to play for OT off of this, and that's such a tough pill to swallow.
Oh, it really is. I mean, you want to be able to kind of have your life under your control in your own hands. And it often feels like on Inferno, you're saving so often on the CT side just to allow yourself an opportunity to maybe shine further down the road. The problem for ZPG, though, they've run out of runway. They've got to take off soon or disaster is on the horizon. And they have 3 map points to defend. They're going to have a goodbye as a result, again, as you mentioned, of having a good grasp of their economy with these consistent saves. But these last few rounds have just gone so out of control. And when we look at this half, by the way, ZPG have only won 3 CT rounds. And they've been spread up. So their economy has constantly been in these situations they had to save. They had no alternative, and now a fast play up Banana sees Steel between the Molotovs, between the smokes, not taking damage, and forward control has been established, but a big grenade behind him is going to shatter Vanity down to 65. Steel still pushing in, not respecting the prowess of ZPG, feeling like that B site is ripe for the taking, feeling like it's weakened. And why not? They've hit it so many times and been successful. Cooper, flash out, smoke doesn't quite land. Beautiful flashing from Vanity, and Steel just charges straight in towards the gunfire, getting kills. 3v3, Zelstis in a good position, but can't double up from coffins. And now a post plant will be 2v2 with the 2 CTs coming in together through CT spawn.
Marky's going to try to work this one over. Smoke just popping down on what was left of the flames. Vanity, primary opper, gives up the angle. He could have tried to lock that in, but he's a little wary of that banana control. Now that smoke goes down. Do they want to push through it? It's their own smoke, and they're going to completely avoid it here, opening up the possibility of a flank. If Marky can't clutch, then this map's over. He's trying to get him to come out and peek. Leaf now down. Minimal shots left over. 6 bullets, and it's oh so close. But Chaos take Inferno.
They take the choice of ZPG, and we go back to the opening 5, 6, 7 rounds of this map. And you think if ZPG had been successful, if they'd won the pistol, if they'd won the second round that both went down to 1v1s, we could be painting an entirely different portrait of how that first map went. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, Connor, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so many nitty gritty, nasty little moments in that one, not to mention the forced hand in the economy. I mean, look, there's one silver lining. And, well, excuse me, Zelsis, he said it himself, right? They have the ability to bounce back. We saw it yesterday. They threw more of a game yesterday and came back to stomp that third map. Let's see if they can do it again. They have to.
Tournament life is on the line for both teams, and now only one map stands in the way of Chaos and the chance of saving their place. Inferno goes their way 16-12, but before we can jump into map number 2, Christine, I want to hear your thoughts on map number 1, because it was incredibly back and forth until those final few moments.
Yeah, it was one of those games where I had no idea who was actually going to be the victor here. It was so back and forth. And in fact, I'm looking at these stats and I was going to talk about Jonji, his CT side, how, you know, there was some moments there where he was struggling towards that banana, that double op setup. It didn't really come into fruition as successfully on CT side as one would hope. But Jonji's stats, he went 11-1 in opening kills. And that's all on his T side, that W religion that we talk about. Jonji, he's the space maker for this chaos side of things. So certainly his success was a huge factor in why we saw Inferno becoming a T-sided map.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about it in the pre-game and just saying it's the individual fraggers on the side of Chaos that are really, really dangerous. And I mean, looking at this Maui as well as Zeppo, obviously stepping up there, Leaf again on 21 kills, it's got to be pretty dangerous going forward for Chaos.
Yeah, it wasn't a walk in the park though by any means. That first half from Godz was pretty effective, and I gotta give a little bit of credit to Godz because the way that they took map control and that the way they fell off of it, I feel like there were 4 or so gun rounds where they took control of either bracket or banana and then they fell off and they forced Chaos to make these aggressive plays. And the first few times Godz actually moved away from it, they would just hit the other bomb site. It would leave the first spot that they took control of guessing. But then one time they actually just kept their players in banana, and I think when Jonji reaggressed, and I think it might have been Steel, another player at least reaggressed at banana, they caught both of them, and then they found an in on that round as well. It was T-sided, like you said, Freya. It was surprising how good Godz looked, but it was so different. It was such a stark contrast with Chaos, who were running so many great execs, so many set plays that just worked beautifully.
Yeah, I love that you pick up on those T sides because obviously we saw the exact same scoreline really of the first half yesterday in their game against Trav. It was again 9-6 on that first half. But as you were saying, Maui, it looked entirely different. They looked way more calculated, way more strategic going into it. And then on the flip side, we see Chaos going onto their T side. And that's really where they started to mount those crucial rounds. I'm interested to hear from you, Christine. What were some of their strengths on that side?
It's as Maui said, those executes, and Chaos seemed to just hit B over and over and over again. And really some unluckiness, I think, coming out for Godz. Also Infinite, that tilting round where he threw the smoke to extinguish the Molotov. And man, that was the round that actually ZPG, they were mounting a comeback on the CT side. So certainly that was a feels bad, man. But for Chaos, and for ZPG, their T-side looked great. And, you know, I love the fact that this was a T-sided Inferno. We hear EG on Stanislaw and EG talking about it. Inferno should be a T-sided map. So that's not what we always see, but that's what they showcased here today.
But going forward, we've obviously got Nuke as the second map. If Chaos win this, they will be going through, and unfortunately, ZPG will be going home. But there is a bit of a caveat to this, because, you know, we've seen ZPG just yesterday. They came back off of a worse loss than this. I'm wondering what you're thinking, Maui, going forward.
Yeah, I'm not too sure exactly what to expect here because the Godz haven't really played Nuke with this 5 just yet. And this is a map that you really need to be comfortable with the 5. You need to know how your comms are going to be coming about, what's going to set off certain rotations. And I don't know if Godz is there just yet on Nuke. I can tell they prepared for Inferno, but Nuke's an entirely different beast.
It is an entirely different ball game. So without further ado, I think it's time we delve into that second map. Can ZPG take it to a third, or will Chaos close out here? Find out after this.